would think that after years in this industry, after years of trying to build a brand and learning all the skills that you need to build the brand, you would think that after these years, it comes easier, more natural for me to hit my goals and smash my goals and all of that. But the truth is, like, every day, I'm finding out that every day, when you head out here being the online space, to like do the things that you need to do to get the life that you want to live, every day you encounter something that's blocking you, something that's reminding you of where you're coming from or the mistakes you've made. You basically go out there and you conquer something every day. And one of the things that I've been conquering lately, or I've been fighting to conquer, and I think I've finally conquered it since I'm now putting out this video, is overwhelm. Because I'm running so many moving parts of my business, and one of the things that I had to learn was to give myself grace. Like, yes, be consistent, yes, show up, but also give yourself grace when you need it, pivot when you need it. Basically, be so in tune with yourself and with your business that you know what your business needs when, and as difficult as it is, take some time to figure out how to bring your A game to whatever you're doing. So a few weeks ago, I started to feel off with this YouTube channel, and it's crazy because I love this channel with all of me. I love it because this is where my entire journey started. So having to like pause it yet again to, I don't know, figure out stuff, because I didn't like how I was feeling about creating on YouTube. And I know, because this is what I help people do, I know it shouldn't feel like this. So I really had to take time out to think about this channel, think about what I want to do with this channel, especially now that I have so many platforms that I'm using. I have a podcast I'm running, I have Instagram that I'm always showing up on, I have my email community, I have my paid people. And so I really wanted to be able to create on YouTube without the pressure of perfection. And I really didn't like the way I was feeling. Whenever it was time to create for YouTube, I had this apprehension. I had this, okay, get this over and done with. And I know that there's no way you can create anything amazing like that without feeling like that. So yeah, I had to take a step back, really think about it, really check and see what is it that is making me feel this type of way about YouTube. And I realized that I wasn't being myself. Like, I felt like it was a show I had to put on, and that is not how I show up on my other platforms. So yeah, we needed to take a break and actually check and see what we need to remove, what we need to put back. And you will notice that moving forward, the style of this my videos have changed, and it's because I got sick and tired of having to put myself so together to record a YouTube channel, because that's how I started. And so even when I evolved in the other aspects, even when I evolved to a place where I could go live without preparation on Instagram, even when I evolved to a place where I could create on the spot, I was still stuck in that rigid creation on YouTube. Like, the way I started is how I've been going for over 3 years, and it's like, yeah, that has got to go. Because I want you to see my process, I want you to learn from me, I want to help you with your journey, and I want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy the process. So welcome to a new era of my YouTube videos, and I hope you enjoy it. If I want us to have conversations, and so if this sparks any conversation, send me a DM on Instagram. All of my links are in the description, so you are welcome to a new dispensation. Today we're talking about what your personal brand needs for you to do in this second quarter, and I actually went live this morning to talk about planning for quarter two. We sort of like did a little planning party in my community. That gave me an idea of sharing this on here about what to do in quarter two for your personal brand. If you're building a personal brand, that means you thoroughly understand that this is the season, this is the time. It's not even a season, because seasons come and go, but personal brands are here to stay, because human beings want to relate with humans, and people are sick and tired of the curated image of the picture perfect professional, of the person who doesn't have a hair out of place, and who we don't really know because they look too perfect to be true. We do know that because our lives are imperfect. Your life is imperfect. So if you're coming on here and telling us, oh, you are perfect and looking perfect, we cannot connect. That's one. Number two, if you have a business, right? Your personal brand is what people use to judge your business. So as good as your product is, as good as your service is, people will judge based on you, and that's the you they know. Now, the funny part is, before we move forward, I need you to know that you have a personal brand, whether or not you're being intentional about it. So why not just be intentional about it? Because people will still jump to conclusions based on what they see on the internet, based on what is said about you. So why don't you control the narrative, right? That's the whole point of a personal brand. Connect with people, tell your own story. Okay, so we're going to be covering 4 things in this video. Number 1, the creating. Number 2, the marketing. Number 3, filling your cup. And number 4, networking. It might not necessarily be in that order, but stick with me. All right, so first of all, if you're building a personal brand, that's you deciding to tell your story online. If you're doing anything online, then your currency is content, because we're not going to be seeing you face to face for you to talk about whatever you want to talk about. And it's easier to hear a story from somebody if the person is saying it in bite-sized, in different aspects, because there is so much to you and there is so much to the person you are. And telling that story will take some time. Telling that story will take lots of different types of content, because if you want to tell me your life story in one sitting, I quite frankly don't have the time for it, and you don't have the time for it, and you will not be able to share everything about yourself in one sitting. And even if you could, I will zone out at some point, I will tune out at some point. And so the content blocks for building personal brands is bite-sized ways where you can tell an aspect of your story every day, every time you show up. You need a large content machine to do that, and it doesn't have to be so overwhelming. I know that when it comes to content creation, it can get a little bit overwhelming, but here's the hack that I use to keep my brand running and up to date and always having content. Because number 1, you cannot always feel like creating all the time. Like, I'm a creator, I work in creation, I create for others, and even I don't feel like creating all the time. You won't be motivated all the time, you won't be creative all the time, and quite frankly, life can be lifing, and so you won't be able to show up all the time for your business. So what do you put in place to make sure that your business doesn't suffer even when all of these things happen? So with the creating, what I do is, number 1, I have a running folder of ideas. If you have followed me for any amount of time, you must have heard of my running folder of ideas. It is in my notes app, the notes app in my phone, and that's basically it. Every time, and funny enough, I was on my live today and I got a quote. You know how you're saying something and then it just comes out really smooth, and you know that will look really good as a quote on your page. And so I stopped, I paused and I put that down, because I know that ideas are liquid gold, especially if you're in the content marketing industry. And if you're selling anything online, yourself, your products, your brand, you are in the content marketing industry. And so if you're in the content marketing industry, ideas are solid gold, right? They're the kind of stuff that brands are built off of. So if you ever have an idea and you ever find yourself saying, I will remember it, trust me when I say you will not remember it. And so you need to put it down right now. So have a notebook in your bag all the time, have your notes app, whatever is more convenient for you. Just make sure that you put your ideas down. And so when I came to prepare for April content, all I had to do was just open my notes app, open my idea file, and I had more ideas than I needed to create content. Now, the second document that I have that's really important when it comes to creating for me is my ideal client document. Yes, I do have a document that has all the things that I know about my ideal client. My ideal client is a professional woman or entrepreneurial woman who is late 20s, 30s, realizing that she has so much to offer and willing to do the work to put herself out there for all the opportunities, for the PR opportunities, for the company opportunities, for the collaboration opportunities, for her message to be put out there. It is somebody that already has this hunger. So I'm not coming here convincing you to want these things. My ideal client already wants these things, and my job is to bridge the gap between where she is and where those things are with her personal brand. And so when I come online to create, I already know this is what this person needs. So how do I give her what she needs? How do I serve her? How do I make her journey easier? How do I make sure she knows what to do and how to do it, and how to expose herself? And so that narrows down my creation process. I have a bunch of ideas because I know my ideal client, I see the world through that lens. So when I see a new technology, for example, I'm not thinking, oh, how can I use this technology in my kitchen for cooking because I don't have a cooking brand. I'm thinking, how do I teach the person that has a cooking brand how to use that technology to put herself out there? If you're clear on who you're talking to and who you're here about, then it makes creation easier. If you're not clear on who you're talking to and how to do that, I would suggest that you take my mini course, I'm the Brand, and that's basically what it means. Like, you, if you're building a personal brand, then you and your ideas are the product and you are the brand, and so you need to be so clear on that, and your message needs to be so clear that people can even pass that message for you even when you're not there. If you're not clear on that, I will put all the links in the description and you can clarify your brand through that. It's free. Your ideal client, get clear on them, have a running notes folder, and thirdly, have a running video folder. Instagram is my favorite platform and videos are all the rage. And now YouTube Shorts, and I post YouTube Shorts, but I'm mostly on Instagram and I'm trying to get on TikTok. But because a lot of my content is video based, a lot of my creation is also video based. Now, today is my creation day. If I say today I want to go and create all the video content that I need to put in my reels, that's kind of impossible because how many places can I go in one day? But my life is pretty interesting and I love to go places. So whenever I go somewhere, I take lots of videos that I will save for when I want to create content. So I might take the videos I took, okay, yesterday was my anniversary. And the videos I took yesterday, I might not use for the next 2 months because I really don't need them. I still have lots of videos that I haven't used, but they're still mine and they still ease my creation process, because when I'm creating a reel now and I need some interesting visuals, I just head over to my video folder and I have more than enough to use. So I hope that helps with your creating. Maintain your ideal client avatar folder, maintain your ideas folder, and maintain your videos folder. That will ease up your creation monumentally. All right, our next pillar is marketing. And let me tell you right off the bat, creation is not marketing. You can create amazing content. You can pay the best content team to create for you. You can create, really insightful pieces and not put it out, because there's a certain kind of block that you get when it's time to actually put yourself out there. And if you don't overcome that block, or if you don't have somebody who can hold your hand while you try to overcome that, you're going to be stuck. And between you that created the content and didn't put it out and somebody else who didn't even create at all, there's really no difference, because your audience still doesn't hear from you, your ideal client still doesn't see you. So you guys are basically in the same place. Putting yourself out there, building your personal brand is a series of overcoming. So you overcome procrastination, you actually create the content, you overcome laziness, and you edit and polish and all of that. You still have to overcome limiting beliefs and mindset blocks to put the content out. Because if the content is in your phone, you're safe. If the content is still in your phone, nobody gets to judge you, nobody gets to judge your ideas, nobody gets to see you, no, you don't get to be vulnerable. But if you don't do all of that, you're going to be industry's best kept secret. And that's a waste, because you're really talented and you have what it takes to change somebody's life. And if you don't put yourself out there, you're not going to be able to fill that gap. If you're promoting yourself, promote yourself. If you're promoting your product, promote the product. But I always recommend that even if you're selling a product, build your own personal brand, because that will be the human element that people fall in love with to fall in love with your product. The third thing that you need to cover is your network. I used to think networking was balderdash. I used to think that, it was just for people who liked going out and liked being social and all of that. But now I understand that building a spectacular business, especially online, you will need to associate with people who can lift you up, who can call your names in rooms, who can show up when you need people to show up. And networking is what does that. And so getting to know people, not so you can take from them, but also giving, is the best way to network. So have a networking plan. How am I going to meet new people? How am I going to increase my network? How am I going to give to people? How am I going to show people that I am a worthy, valuable addition to their network? You know that I always come with my notes. So yeah, networking. Now, another section of networking that people don't really talk about is joining communities. And I've recently joined a community, really. It's a writing community. And I'm volunteering. I'm not getting paid for it. But so far, I've met amazing women who we're connecting with. And it's not about whether or not they'll buy from me. It's whether or not we understand each other and whether or not we can support each other in our growth. And support comes in so many ways, like be a guest on my podcast, share my stuff to your audience, go live with me. It's a lot, and it is up to you to become that stand-up person that people will want to relate with. And you do that by showing support. You do that by showing up for people. You do that by not being the woman who is backbiting or laughing or, being catty. And then the fourth thing that I want you to consider, really, really important with making your Q2 plan, is filling your cup. You cannot pour from an empty cup. A few weeks ago, I was on the floor. I was exhausted. I was burnt out. I was just flat. And I didn't understand why immediately. It's funny how you can spot it in somebody else, but you can't spot it in yourself. After a while, I realized that in truth, I'd been neglecting my reading. I wasn't listening to my podcast. I wasn't attending my CEO membership classes. I had somewhat derailed with my learning. And, from there out, it was easy to pick myself up and start again and start learning how to fill your cup. The best thing is to categorize them, and I categorize them into your skills, your mentals, and the other aspects of your life. So if you're building your personal brand, your skill is something that you have, something that you do, probably in your day job. And your personal brand might not necessarily be based on that. You could be a lawyer, but your personal brand is about your love of cooking. That's very okay. It's all in the way you put it together. Whatever skill that you're using to monetize, right? Whatever skill you're monetizing, you've got to learn more of it. You've got to learn from the people that have been in the industry. So how to navigate your industry is a skill. How to market yourself is a skill. How to sell is a skill. So keep updating your skills. The internet is dynamic, it's always changing. Learn how to market online. Social media marketing is here to stay. Learn that. So that skill, brush up on your skills. But also your mental fortitude. Like entrepreneurship is a series of overcoming problems. If you are the personal brand, if you're the brand, then every day you're overcoming your limiting beliefs. You're overcoming all the stories that you've told yourself, that others have told you about yourself. You have to continuously overcome. And so the mental fortitude that you need to overcome is super important, because if you don't overcome them, they're going to stop you from showing up. And then you're going to be getting in your way, and you'll start self-sabotaging. And before you know it, you feel like there's nothing to offer. But if you're very intentional about it, you will continuously refill your cup before it gets to empty. And so you continuously find people that encourage you. You will read books that build you up. You will surround yourself with support structure, so that when you're feeling down, you're able to reach out to this person and be like, listen, I'm feeling this type of way. And they can immediately, boost you back up, hype you, remind you of who you are on your best days. Finally, the other aspects of your life, even if they're not, if you're not portraying them online, they're still important, because they allow you to show up online with your A game. And so pay attention to that too. Pay attention to your friends. Pay attention to your spouse or your partner. Pay attention to yourself and, what is going on inside. Because sometimes, and especially if you're like me, like you ignore and ignore and ignore until it actually builds up into a block that you've got to deal with before you can show up well again. So don't let it get to that point. I'm working on that. Make sure that you're well taken care of too, as a person, not a business owner, as a woman. Like, make sure the other places you have to show up, you are doing your best by them too. Remember that you will not always be 100% all of the time, and that's okay. As you move, give yourself a little grace. I thoroughly enjoyed creating this video, and I'm looking forward to creating even more videos like this. I just want you to get what I have to say. I want you to understand where I'm at, and I want you to do your best by your brand, by your personal brand, by your business brand, by whatever you're doing, to make sure that you hit your goals and you pursue your dreams. So I wish you all the best with that. I want us to hang out. I'm always on Instagram. I will drop my link or my handle or whatever. And yes, make sure that you check out the podcast too. She's the Brand. We're having so much fun on there. I think that's it for today. So I will see you next week. Bye.